Took me a long time to form the word properly for the first time. I was delighted to be part of the choir. I mean, who would not be? Raphael was a brilliant conductor, patient and kind for a distinguished personage of archangelic rank. Hallelujah! It sounds different. It sounds different in every language on earth. Gosh, and why shouldn't it sound a bit different in heaven too? Hallelujah began to dance from my lips. We were practicing for a special event. We didn't quite know where we would perform. I don't know, the Principality, the Colosseum. We didn't know who it would be to, or indeed why. The why was the most difficult thing to fathom, really. God, it seemed, had chosen to step into time and space and become a human being. He wouldn't simply be a king or a high priest or archbishop, but all of God would be contained within a baby. I struggled to get my angelic mind around that, I can tell you. We knew that God loved humankind, and that sometimes he'd be known to be incredibly sad, even to weep at the mess they got themselves into. But this, he was going to give himself as a gift to them. That made me do a dance. Well, that is, if I was a shape for dancing. And then I would wonder, isn't it a bit risky? I mean, babies are fragile and dependent, vulnerable and needy. Wow, God becoming like this. I didn't know whether to laugh or to cry. God has always been in the business of turning the world upside down, or rather, let me say, human beings have always turned the world upside down, and God has had to turn it the right way up again. He kept choosing people who simply couldn't keep simple rules, even though he lavished his love upon them. This time, he entrusted all that he was to a young woman. Her faith was inspirational, and we looked on in wonder, we did, as she accepted the task that God gave her, even though at first her fiancé didn't want to know. Then we watched with bated breath as the young woman and her man had to travel miles so that they could be taxed. Because it didn't seem to make any sense. Why was this extra obstacle in their place? And then we realised that they were going to the city of David, where God had always promised that a king would come. When they arrived, they were pushed to the edge, and in the middle of animals and their smells and the busyness of a small holding, the hopes of all of us were born. And then we got the moment we were practicing for. We got to sing. But it was simply to a group of people doing their jobs on a hillside. Gabriel went first. I guess we were his backing group, really, not that we minded. I smiled when he said, "Don't be afraid." We always say that when people are afraid. Then we got to perform. And we sang our hearts out that God had stepped into the world. The people we were singing to didn't stick around. They went to see for themselves. We sang for so few. Was it worth it? Well, I've been told that many people woke that night with the sound of singing, and if they listened carefully, at the heart of all our singing was the chief singer, and it was formed in the descant of a baby.